Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're on Sunday. It means we finish out some special selections weekend, and today we're going to be doubling back to a band we've checked out a couple of times before. Michael Mendoza requests Ghost Trail by Cult of Luna. Says, I would prefer it if you checked out the live version. It might give you a new appreciation for the band. And what I believe that's about is we've checked out Cult of Luna a couple times before, and the songs that featured Julie Christmas I enjoyed. One of them more than the other, I believe. But when we checked out one of Cult of Luna's songs with just, the band, their original lineup, not featuring Julie Christmas on vocals, I bounced off of it. And I don't remember why I bounced off of it, but if I recall, Cult of Luna is more of a post band. Large, very large sound, lots of repetition. And we checked that song out fairly early in my critical reaction saga. And I just don't think I was ready for that mentally. So I'm hoping that, yes, this does give me a new appreciation, but it also just could be an experience thing. I've come to sort of understand post metal a little more, and I think I might be able to enjoy Cult of Luna just because I have more experience with this genre of writing. So, anyways, let's get to it. This is Ghost Trail live at Scala, London. Very atmospheric. I love the element that those slides are giving this section. Yeah, that is just such a big, wide sound. It's interesting that despite the drive and that hi-hat, it's still such a lethargic section. drum kits? This section feels so out of place given what we've heard so far. But I'm jamming to this. This is good. Bit of that distorted, that controlled dissonance there. Feeling a bit like Mars Volta. Loving that dual guitar or dual drummer there. It's kind of amazing this doesn't fall apart. Like, it's awesome. The classic use of I'm amazed. What a crunchy chord that was. What a great way to pull that energy back, though. Like, that just felt like a natural extension to bring it down to where we are now. A natural extension from that extremely wide spot we were just a minute ago. What a clean transition. So that's where the bells sound is coming from. Yeah, just like the beginning of the track, we have a really strong sense of atmosphere here. All right. Wait, is it not? I've talked about contrast before, but I don't think you can go. You can get any bigger than that 0 to 100 they just did. Speeding up. Yeah, another really good use of the dual drums right here. You basically have, you mix the metronome and the melodic pattern work, because it would not be possible as one person to do what's going on here. They over for real this time? I mean, there's still 20 seconds left. Yep. All right. So, yeah, I would say that has changed my mind on them a little bit. It's not. I don't know if it's still. I don't know yet if it has become my cup of tea, as I tend to say, but I do have a greater appreciation for that song than I did the other one. And like I said earlier, I don't know if that's part of my maturity as I explore and learn about and get used to some of these harsher elements in some of these more fringe metal genres. Not fringe as in like unknown, just like really pushing the harshness. But definitely, sorry, it could just be the maturity aspect, but it could also just be that I connected with this song better. Um, there's some really cool elements in here though, and I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the seeing the performance, because that helped me understand a couple of things. I don't think I would have been as enthralled by the drum work if I didn't know there were two drummers. Seeing the two drummers there really helps me visually segment, because I've talked about this a few times, but if you're new here, when I listen to music, I orchestrally listen, which means that I hone in on a single instrument. And I check out what they're doing, and then I move on to another instrument, check out what they're doing, and I go around the band until I have a full idea, or until I can piece together a full idea based on all the singular elements. And so if I was doing this without the video, I would tune into the drums, and for the most part, I would probably have only heard one drummer. And that's not to say that it's impossible to have heard two drummers, but you really need to focus in on how many things are happening at one time, and if that would be possible with just four limbs, two legs, two arms. Though that also isn't really the case, because we have seen a leprous drum playthrough with Baird, and there was one part in one of the songs where a second person came over and continued a tom pattern while he went to cymbals and snare. So it's always possible that a guitarist or the vocalist could come over and pick up a stick or two and perform something. So I don't think there's any way that I would have heard that there's two drummers here, but seeing the two drummers really elevates some of the section, and it forces me to really focus in on the two drummers themselves as two separate instruments, which really helps with the visual aspect. Um, but it gives me a stronger appreciation because I can see how the two drums are working in tandem rather than hearing them as one. So yeah, I'm sure the visual aspects helps a little bit in here. Um, but the song kind of follows what I've come to understand to be fairly standard post composition, where we have an atmospheric opening. We build from there into, we just keep building and adding on more aspects, and adding in some chaos and faster attacks, shorter notes, until we have this huge wall of sound, and then we just kind of sit, chill in a wall of sound, a sonic assault, as I've called it before, um, for a bit. And these guys played around with that a little bit. We had some ups and downs, bit of a roller coaster. Um, but for the most part, it was a fairly standard post composition, song composition. But what they really elevate, I think, in this track is sort of controlling the chaos. I think they've pushed it further than I've heard in any sort of post song like this, pushing that chaos. I really dig their atmosphere. I think they do a good job on building. They don't, well, they didn't appear to have too many layers. And when I thought we were peaking out, I thought it was very tasteful, at least for what I consider to be tasteful. And my biggest thing is the vocalist. It's not something I enjoy. Um, Growling just as a whole is a vocal style I'm just not too keen on. I don't dislike it. I don't think it takes away from my experience, at least not any growling I've heard thus far. But it's not something I look forward to. It's not something I seek out. And but I understand and appreciate that this song would have sounded completely different without the growls. They added more bassiness, more wall of sound, just all of it. Even with a fry to still get some of that width, it would not have the same effect as the growl did. Now, with that said, I mentioned that the layers were up to a point where I felt that they were just about to cross the line of having too much going on, but that I was fairly content with what was happening, and then they pushed it. And I mentioned the Mars Volta, and I firmly sit with that reaction. They entered into Mars Volta area of controlled chaos. We had this huge wall of sound underneath these ridiculously fast tremolo picked guitars, and we had just this sonic energy. And then on top of that, they put distortion. And well, they already had distortion. On top of that, they put I don't know why that's the second time. Dissonance. That's the second time I've called that distortion. They put on some dissonance on top of that, and it just really elevates the section. It is just enthralling in all senses of the word. It's a train wreck that you can't look away from. It is just. I'm not going to say it sounds good, at least not to me. I'm sure there are some people who listen to this and think that it sounds good, despite it being subjective. But it does not sound good to me in a theoretical sense. But I can't look away. It has my attention, and it continues to intrigue me. What are they going to do next? How are they going to resolve this? Where is this going? You know, and I knew that it was the 13-minute video, and we were only 7 minutes in. So I'm like, where do we go from here? We've maxed out. I thought we had maxed out before, and we went over that. There is literally nowhere else to go. Uh, I know that this is a DVD, which means that the audio is already going to be a little lower than I would prefer. And then it's also a low resolution rip of the DVD, but the audio was clipping. We could not get any louder. We could not add another layer. We could not make the sound wider. What are they going to do? And they really surprised me by bringing it down. And I mentioned at the time that it was a ridiculously clean transition. And again, I stand by that. I mean, how they took us from 100 down to like 10 is phenomenal. It just felt completely natural to the track. It wasn't an abrupt stop. It wasn't this weird shift. I wouldn't necessarily say that we moved from a chaotic heavy section to a soft section. We just kind of traded that chaotic section for some softer tones, but it was the same section. That's how smooth of a transition it was. We didn't really transition out of anything. So yeah, that just amazed me. And then of course, I thought they ended the song. And then they took it from 0 to 100. They went the opposite way. And I mentioned the juxtaposition there, and again, that's a concept that comes up quite a few times when we're talking about bands like this that write music that embodies two different ideas. We talked about it yesterday with the narrow metal sound against the wide orchestral sound in Imperial Circus Dead Decadence. I think that was it. And how they use juxtaposition to really gain a huge effect out of widening the sound by putting up against a smaller, a narrower sound. And we see it on full display here. I don't think you can do anything larger, any larger of a contrast than when they went from pure silence to their max in one beat. It was no build up. It was just there, being smacked in the face with a brick wall. Yeah, someone's like swinging the brick wall, like being smacked in the face with the metaphor did not come together. I'm trying to force it. Um, yeah, I don't think there's any better example of how juxtaposition and contrast works. How you can gain a larger effect out of an extreme aspect than by butting it up against the exact opposite. This will probably be my go-to example for contrast in every future context. No matter what I'm doing, I could be talking to a friend, And I'm like, yeah, that's some good contrast. I'm like, what do you mean contrast? I'm like, let me pull you up some Ghost Trail. We're gonna learn you something. Um, yeah, that was just phenomenal. I think that was the part where I mentioned it being awesome. The traditional term of being struck with awe. Um, Again, it's not necessarily a sound I enjoy, but I don't think there's just something about that huge change in speed. Like I said, going from 0 to 100, from pure silence to the bone crushing weight of that section, that is just so emotive. I don't think you can listen to that and not get a reaction. It might not be physical, it might be mental, it might be internal, it might be a gut thing or a mental thing. You might get tiny goosebumps, something. I don't think you can just not react to that, at least not on a first time. You know, when, if you know it's coming, what is that? I can't think of that psychological effect. But anyways, the more often you're exposed to something, the less impactful it is. So yeah, I mean that certainly comes into play. There's diminishing uh, results after many subsequent listens. But on a first time, I mean it is powerful, and it definitely has this crushing weight to it. It made me feel a little small. It's just such a large section. Um, yeah, what a wild ride though. I still Michael Mendoza. I don't know if it has changed my opinion of Cult of Luna, at least on a casual listener side. I'm not going to be rushing out to pick up their works, but it has, as you hoped, increased my appreciation for them. There's definitely some really cool things they pulled off in here. And, you have to appreciate a band that just goes out and does this. They try to bottle chaos and wait and administer it to their fans via sonic energies. You have to admire that. Those are my thoughts, though, on Cult of Luna's Ghost Trail. This is where you guys come in. Now, hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. If there's anything else I should be checking out from them. I think this is the fourth Cult of Luna song on the channel, so I can't promise we'll do many more. There's over 900 bands in the spreadsheet that don't have a single reaction at all, so a lot of stuff I'd like to get to. But yeah, I'd say there's still room for another reaction sometime in the future. I can't promise a time, but it'll probably happen again. Yeah, when you're done commenting, though, there's a description box above that with some links for stuff adjacent to the channel, maybe the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, anything you might be interested in outside of the reaction videos themselves. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Share the video on social medias. All that stuff helps out the channel immensely. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC with Metalcore Week, which I'm looking forward to. I considered myself a metalcore fan back in my teens, and after seeing the bands that might pop up this week, I'm coming to the conclusion I might not have understood what metalcore was. Either that or the genre evolved quite a bit after I stopped listening to or paying attention to how the genre evolved. I don't know, but I don't recognize many of the bands, and the couple I do, I thought were more metal, less core, if that makes any sense. All right, well, until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.